Welcome back to another episode of Drain Waste Vent series by the Building Expert team. Today we are roughing a third floor bathroom, complete with a toilet, two sinks, and a bathtub. We will start on the main floor and then go upstairs to rough and trap arms, connect multiple vents together, and penetrate one vent through the roof. For this project, we are using ABS pipes and fittings. ABS is the most commonly used material in our area. Another commonly used material is cast iron. PVC is not common here at all. However, all the roughing techniques stay the same for any kind of plastic materials. Of course, they are a bit different for cast iron. We will use two 3x2-inch Ys. The first Y will serve as a drain for one of the sinks upstairs. It will also serve as a wet vent for the toilet. And the second Y will serve as a drain for the second sink and shower. Shower drain will be wet vented through the second sink drain. Our typical starting point is the toilet. Why? Because the toilet flange is already secured in place, eliminating the need to worry about strapping pipes to the ceiling. However, even when starting from the toilet, there is a limit. If you glue a long enough piece of pipe to the horizontal side of the 90-degree fitting, it will sag with its own weight. So if you begin with a lengthy piece from the toilet 90, ensure to strap the other end before gluing anything. Otherwise, the pipe may dry sagged. And when you strap it later, it could stress the joint. I think any piece of pipe over a foot should be strapped before gluing. In this video, we used a street 90 and glued the Y onto the fitting end. I didn't worry about strapping it to the ceiling, because the length of the horizontal run from my toilet 90 to the stack 90 is short enough that all of my pieces are close together and nothing is sagging. Typically, I avoid using close pieces because if a leak occurs, you will have to cut out a fitting. And even then, there might not be enough space for a ram bit, resulting in the need to redo everything. So always try to use longer pieces if you have the option. We are using a 2916 carbide hole saw to make holes in the TGI webbing for 2-inch pipes. You can see that I angled one of the holes a little once the holes were done. This allows for a longer piece to fit between two TGIs, reducing the need for couplings. Couplings aren't necessarily bad or expensive, but they add more joints, which means more chances of leaks and more time spent. These TGIs are running parallel to each other, although they are not parallel to the outside wall where our sinks are located upstairs. So we marked our holes in a way that the pipes from the Ys will run parallel to the TGIs and create a perfect 90-degree angle with the perpendicular pipe. This ensures that the pipe will penetrate all the way inside the fitting hub, minimizing stress and chances of leaks. To confirm that our pipe is perfectly parallel, We made sure that each end of the parallel pipe is at the same distance from the TGI webbing. This not only looks good, but also ensures that there is no stress at any joint. When we rough in, we almost never dry fit. The reason for that is when you dry fit a pipe, it doesn't go all the way inside the fitting hub, and there are chances that you will forget to glue a joint. We were taught never to dry fit, and that's how we teach our apprentices. Once you learn the right techniques to measure, you will find that it's way faster and minimizes waste by miles. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about dry fitting a pipe. We talked about strapping a horizontal piece before gluing. You can see that I did exactly what I meant on this tub trap arm pipe. I put one side of the pipe into the Y-hub and strapped the other side, making sure I have an adequate 2% or quarter-inch per foot slope before I glued it into the Y. Lastly, I sported all the horizontal runs every 4 feet to ensure they won't sag under the drainage load or over time. I could have done it as we went along, but I only did necessary strapping initially. I left it until the end so I could do it all at once. I find that doing repetitive tasks together boosts productivity and allows us to accomplish more. While strapping, I made sure that each pipe is perfectly sloped once again, so that we won't have any drainage issues in the future. Now that we are all done with drainage work on the main floor, it's time to go upstairs and install trap arms. Before we start the installation, we have gathered all the fittings we need for trap arms. When you roughen trap arms, there are two important measurements to consider. First one is the center of the sink horizontally, so that at the finishing stage, when you install the sink, your sink drain aligns with the trap arm. And the second one is the drain height. This is very crucial, because if you plumb it too high, there is no way you can get it fixed without having to cut the drywall. And if it's too low, you will end up cutting the base of the cabinet. We are also installing line cleanouts for our sink drains. It is important to position these correctly, so they fit vertically and horizontally within the cabinets. We also made sure that they don't end up on any seams where two cabinet boxes join, to avoid cutting cabinets to access them in the future. We have the cabinet design specifications, so we know exactly where to plumb the trap arms and line cleanouts. Generally, where a standard cabinet is installed, we roughen our line cleanouts at 12 inches and trap arm tees at 18 inches, plus or minus half an inch from the finished floor, and we never had any issues. Initially, we plumbed our trap arms offset from sink drain centers. We then ran our trap arm through wall studs to align them with sink drains because we are going to install wall hang faucets, and this approach will prevent vent pipes from clashing with our faucets and light fixtures. There are many small details to consider when plumbing sink arms. Sink arms and cleanouts are the only two components of the drainage system that are going to be visible once the house is complete. So make sure they are perfect. Another thing you must consider when roughening a trap arm is the slope. The correct slope for an 1.5-inch pipe is 1/4 inch per foot. There is no allowable tolerance when it comes to trap arm slope, because if the slope is less than that, water and waste may not flow properly through the pipe. If you have more than 1/4 inch per foot slope, it can create S-trap and suck out the water from your trap and allow sewer smells to escape. Your nicely done drainage work will go to waste if you mess up your trap arm slope. Trap arms also have minimum and maximum lengths. Maximum you can run an 1.5-inch trap arm is 5 feet 11 inches, and the minimum is 3 inches. The maximum angle for a trap arm is 135 degrees. So plumb your trap arms in a way that your pipe from your trap arm tee to the P-trap 90 reaches while staying within these limits. You might be wondering why we use line cleanouts when we could simply remove the P-trap from the trap arm and run a snake from there. The reason is that our local codes do not allow tubular traps. We must install traps of the same material. We are using ABS pipes and fittings, so we must install ABS P-traps. At the finishing stage, we will install a union P-trap with a slip joint adapter on the sink tailpiece. But the P-trap 90 will be permanently glued to the trap arm, so it gets hard to run snakes through the 90s. This is where the line cleanouts are useful. You can run a snake without having to remove the traps. If you don't want to install a line cleanout, another option is to use a plastic socket coupling, so you can completely remove traps for snaking. We also had another vent coming from the kitchen sink, which we connected to one of the sink vents. Our outside wall has 2x6 framing, so we kept our pipes on the inside of the wall to allow for insulation behind them. All the markings on the pipes are facing forward for the inspector to verify the correct material is used. Finally, we capped off the ends of the trap arms, so when we conduct a water test on the entire DWV system in the house, water will only come out of the vents that are penetrated through the roof. We are done installing trap arms as per our cabinet design specifications. And now it's time to connect both vents from top of our trap arm tees and penetrate one vent through the roof to complete this bathroom rough-in. Plumbing vent pipes bring fresh air into your home's plumbing system and balance the air pressure. This helps water flow smoothly through the drain pipes whenever you use any plumbing fixture and takes sewer gases to the outside air. Every single fixture needs to be vented, which means you must run a vent pipe from each fixture and penetrate through the roof. There are a lot of fixtures in a house, but you don't see as many vent pipes penetrating through the roof. The reason is that a single vent can serve multiple fixtures in a house, which reduces the amount of pipe required to plumb a system and minimizes penetrations through the roof. That's exactly what we are doing today. We are connecting both vents together in the TJIs and will penetrate one vent through the roof. In a plumbing system, there are two types of vents, wet and dry. Wet vents use a single pipe for draining sewer and allowing air to flow. Dry vents, on the other hand, are only meant for air circulation. They are not always completely dry though, because rain and melted snow flows through them. Just like sewer pipes, vent pipes should also be slightly sloped, so that water from rain or snow drains down to sewer pipes, instead of accumulating in the pipe. An ideal slope for vent pipes is a 1/4 inch per foot. Anything referred in this video is as per our local codes, and codes differ everywhere. So make sure you follow your local codes. Even the piping material that is allowed to be used can be different in other areas. In the older days, copper was the main material that was used for drainage systems. But because of the cost and ease of use, PVC and ABS took over copper piping. Installing plastic material is way easier and it reduces labor time drastically. 99% of the houses we plumb has ABS piping and rest are a mixture of cast iron and System 15. The purpose of this video is not to teach codes, but to talk about the main idea of how things work and how they are done. However, the main idea stays the same, so make sure you do your due diligence before you start any project. Plumbing has changed a lot over the years. Many things contributed to that, and modern framing is one of them. Modern framing uses a lot more engineered wood products, such as TJIs and floor trusses. TJIs and floor trusses changed how plumbing is designed and installed. TJIs allow larger diameter drilling through the webbing as compared to dimensional lumber. And floor trusses are pre-designed for plumbing, which makes complex plumbing designs easier to install. Whenever we post videos showing DWV work, where we drill through TJIs, some viewers often comment that drilling into TJIs is not allowed, which is a misconception. In fact, TJIs are generally more accommodating to drilling than traditional dimensional lumber. With proper planning, you can often eliminate the need for a drop ceiling by drilling through TJIs. Just remember, there are specific guidelines and limitations to follow. So always consult with a structural engineer before drilling to ensure compliance with building codes and manufacturer specifications. That's exactly what we are doing in this video. We are drilling a few holes in TJIs and connecting vents in TJI cavities. While modern framing has a simplified design, it also brought certain challenges. For example, where it allows open concept homes with extended spans, it makes it more difficult to maintain proper pipe slopes within joist cavities. Ensuring the correct grade for drainage lines over longer distances often requires precise planning to meet code requirements. Another thing that has changed plumbing is the modern plumbing tools. They have made the installation process easier. Every single tool that you will ever need to install drainage system is cordless. You almost never need to pull cords to run tools. Drill bits and saw blades are perfectly engineered to make cutting easier. All these things have made plumbing way easier than before. Although advancements have made plumbing installations easier in some respects, there is another side to the story. Modern high-end fixtures and increasing standard for quality in new home construction have added complexity to plumbing work. The trade remains physically demanding and now requires even more critical thinking and precision to meet these elevated expectations. There are many small things to remember when installing plumbing systems that can make things go smoothly. One of them is completing repetitive tasks at once, rather than going back and forth to the same task. For example, if you have holes to drill, drill as many holes as possible at one time. Keeping the work area clean is one of the best things you can do to speed up the installation process. Plus, it reduces the risk of tripping over tools or materials. Learn to use the step ladder properly. Keep in mind, step ladder can be one of the most dangerous tools you have in your work truck if you don't use it properly. People often try to overreach, which makes a simple task hard and increases the risk of an accident. Grab all fittings or tools you need before going up the ladder to avoid going up and down repeatedly. Visualize the layer you are going to install and gather all the materials at once, rather than making multiple trips to the truck or plumbing store. If the job continues the next day, make notes about what you will need. It's a waste of time and energy to arrive at a job site without having the right materials. Keep allowable tolerances in your mind and always do your best work. Consider how your work will impact the next trade and continue expanding your knowledge of building science. Be confident in your abilities. Your work is your signature. So put forth your best effort every time. That's all for today's video. Let me know in the comments how you think plumbing has changed over the years. I have put links to all the materials and tools we used in the video description below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.